girlfriend over here. Yeah, she.
The system had one intention, to put us in prison. It's just that simple.
Welcome to the Christie Taylor Show here inside the Taylor Tilton Hour. I'm your host, Christie Taylor. Super excited to be here with you on another Tuesday. And let me tell you, I am excited that I have a chance to go back in time and talk to someone that I met last year. And we're talking about a gentleman who is an attorney and also a jazz man. And let me tell you a little bit about him. Fresh off of his recent first solo release, Half of a Man, and It Will Rain Again, indie singer-songwriter and former member of the blues duo Law and Chaos is about to take his game to a new level with an upcoming remake of Superstition dropping January the 21st and the launch of Nick Andrea and the Verdict in February. Now, Nick began as a renowned state-ranked high school jazz trumpet player before taking decades off to pursue a successful law career. Now he's back and pushing the envelope with a unique mixture of rock and blues. Nick's debut solo vinyl album, and I did say vinyl, Blues at Dark, is due out this month, with all proceeds donated to a charity which supplies instruments to school districts in need. I want you to help me welcome and bringing to the show, Nick. Hey, good morning.
Great to be back.
You know, first of all, I was trying to remember, like, when did we first talk? You were, let's just say, a very successful attorney who decided to finally put the trumpet back up again. And you were a part of a duo, Law and Chaos. And I believe it was around this time last year, maybe a little less. What do you remember?
8 or 9 months, but time flies, as they say, and a lot of changes have been happening.
Well, I want to, first of all, kind of for those who were not, privy to our first conversation, in the bio, it talks about how in high school, you were a jazz man back then. Let's talk about your love for music and your musical journey.
Sure. The story sort of goes like this. I was a ranked New York State high school trumpet player, and the time came to make a very hard decision. And my father said, son, you got a good head on your shoulders. Why don't you go off to law school? And so I put the trumpet in the closet and never quite felt right for decades. I mean, I was a lost soul about music in my life, and I didn't quite figure it out. And in Christmas of 2017, I believe, my wife bought me a little Christmas present, and it no longer works, but I have it sitting back here. It's this trumpet here. She said, why don't you pick it up and play again? And it was like a crippled man learning to walk again. I would go to park benches where nobody could hear me, and I would play, and the lip muscles gradually started coming back. And then I thought, well, now I want to play for people. If a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? It means more when you can communicate to people and reach them. So I started playing in local bands, and before long, I formed Lawn Chaos with T.J. Sullivan. He decided to leave to pursue other musical interests, and I thought, well, we've come this far. Let's keep it going. Let's take it up a level.
Wow! First of all, congratulations on your renewed love of music and commitment to music, because for some people, when you, like you said, when you take 30 years off or 20 years off or 10 years off from doing something that you had passion for, you sometimes write it off. But also shout out to your wife. Go ahead and say her name.
Claudia Santa Cruz.
Yes, and I'm trying to make sure we get a great. I love the backdrop. I love the art that you have in the back, and that trumpet is just watching you and supporting you. But I like the fact that you said you would take that trumpet and just sit in the park and play. So did you by chance put the panhandling out, or with people, what would they say if they heard you?
Well, I knew I was getting close to recovery as the crippled trumpet player when somebody there was a library right there, and the librarian came out and said, "I would love for you to come in and play for the children. Can you set up a time and you can teach them about the trumpet and jazz?" And I thought, well, I must not sound that awful anymore. I think we're getting close. Still not back to where I was in high school, but who is?
Wow. First of all, I like the fact that it was a librarian. That sounds like a movie. Hey, Nick, you got a movie in you, sir. You got a movie in you. Now, with the fact that you said you started, let's just say you started, playing for the children, and then you're like, maybe it's time for me to play for the adults. Can you remember your first gig for the club scene?
Well, I don't know if you call this a club scene or not. I started out in a local garage band that I still love these guys, Lobo Reese, and we would play barbecues, and so we started doing that, and it started out playing a little trumpet, and they said, "Hey Nick, yeah, you want to try singing a song?" Because we all shared vocal duties, and pretty soon I was pretty much singing most of the songs. So I was like, "Wow, I got vocal cords too. Who thought?"
Wow. So there we have the singing trumpeter. I think that's the best way we say it, the singing trumpeter. Now, going from the park bench to the library to the garage band, when did you say, let's make this something that we're going to invest time, money, and almost like a second career?
Well, I met up with TJ, who had a much longer track record in the blues and had some albums out, and so we started writing together and putting out songs. He thought I had something to say, so these songs were very autobiographical about a very dark period during those 30 years, and I think that's the key, is being transparent with your audience, and if that honesty comes through, they're going to enjoy the music if you have something to say. And we started getting somewhere, and I think when he felt that the student had risen to an appropriate level, he went off in his own direction, and I thought, okay, well, we've come this far. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Now, I like this story, because one of the things when we did have our duo chat last year, Law and Chaos, I loved the name. And Ken, just for the sake of, for those who might be like, oh, I remember them. Can you break down what Law and Chaos, the name of your duo, meant?
It meant a couple things. Number one, I'm a lawyer, so that was the law part, and TJ was quite chaotic, so that was the chaos part. But it was also the principles of everything in the universe can be sort of explained as either law or chaos. There are laws of science, there are laws of physics, and then there is the chaos that comes into our life, and we've seen that with the pandemic. The natural order of things is frequently disrupted. So it's just meant to be an all-encompassing term about everything that happens in life and in the universe. And our songs try to be very broad-reaching and have a deeper meaning in that way.
Now, Nick, you spoke up the pandemic, and of course, you're actually forging a music career at a very pivotal time. How did that impact you musically?
Oh, well, the performance opportunities have dried up quite a bit. There have been venues that all over the country that have gone out of business, but we're developing, we're recording, we're filming right now. We're getting ready for the launch, and we're just starting to turn on the spigot. The Superstition coming out January 21st, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I promise you, we've got some great stuff. I'm surrounded by some great musicians.
Now, okay, so here I'm really love the fact, Nick, that you have persevered. You're like, hey, 30 years, come back, and just the journey that you're taking as a jazz man and a vocalist. And I have to say that the things that you did with Law and Chaos, it was such a beautiful blend between, as you say, TJ was a classic bluesman and you are definitely a crooner, got that jazz vibe, and it was a really beautiful blend. So for those who are like, well, what can we expect from Nick as solo? How do you find your stories now? Because without the contrast of the bluesman, where are you now as a vocalist and a trumpeter and a composer as a solo artist?
Well, I think we're all hung up a little bit too much on genre sometimes. It's like telling an artist, only paint on canvas or only be a sculptor. And I think it's a medium that allows us, we can draw from various genres. So Half of a Man is pure crossroads blues. The Rain song, "It Will Rain Again," it's got country blues influences. What I'm doing with Nick Andrea and the Verdict is going to have a lot of rock. You're going to hear some Rolling Stones echoes in it. So I think it's available for all musicians, and I don't think we should pigeonhole ourselves in a genre. It's, are you saying something, and are you being honest with the audience? And then surround yourself with the best musicians you can, and that's what I'm doing. We got some great people helping out.
Now, can you speak to? I mean, I love that, and you're sounding like a true musician, as true artist at this point. Understanding that music has no bounds, and that as an artist, you can flow between the notes and however they turn out, and the expressions is beautiful. And you're speaking about surrounding yourself with those amazing musicians. So let's drop names. Who are some of the people you've been collaborating with?
Well, on the single coming out Friday, January 21st, we've got Truth Jones, who was a semifinalist in the International Blues Challenge. Just an incredible female vocalist. Made me work very, very hard so that I could keep up with her on that track. The keyboardist, who's also a member of Nick Andrea and the Verdict, is Gary Swan, who's played with acts such as Deep Purple. And we've got Ricky Zaharis. I can never pronounce his name, so we call him Ricky Z, is a Grammy-winning guitar player. We've got Eric Garcia. He played with Bob Dylan. We've got Lynn Coulter, who is just a phenomenal session drummer, has played with many, many famous acts. So we've got some superstars here, and they make me work harder to do my part. I'm taking vocal lessons with Lynn Finelli, who's a quite accomplished background singer as well. So we're working.
I like the fact you are really approaching this as a newbie, but of course we know that as a successful lawyer, you're able to bring resources that the typical musician cannot. How do you merge the two at this point, between night and day?
I might ask you to clarify the question a little bit.
The very fact that by day, I mean, like Clark Kent and Superman.
It's hard, and if I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it. And sometimes that requires getting up at 4 and working on edits or writing songs, because we're still writing material too. A new group needs originals. And so it's a constant process. And if I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it. Because like everyone else, I love to sleep. I would love to sleep in, but I'm 53 years old and I've got something to say, and it's time to do it. Can sleep later.
They said, I think in hip hop, they said you can sleep when you die. That's a very strong statement, but it's true. It's true. I mean, life is for that purpose of exploring and expressing ourselves fully, and to be able to do it as a success in one business and also be able to come back to something you're passionate about is a great story. And speaking of that, when it comes to the way you communicate your music, you have had some amazing music videos. Can we talk about why that's been important to you and some of the people you've been collaborating with when it comes to music video production?
Yes, the man who helps me with my music videos is someone I neglected to mention on the release as well. His name is Craig T. Fall, Eldora Grande Studios, and he was Stevie Wonder's road guitarist in the early 1970s. So when it came time to doing the Superstition track, he was the man, and he ended up doing the guitar solo on it as well. So he also does the music videos for me. Incredibly creative man, and we work very well together. I sort of storyboard it, and then he says, "Nick, that's impossible," and I say, "Make it possible," and he usually makes it possible.
He makes it possible. Well, we're going to check it out right now. Now, of course, you collaborated with him on this remake. Let's talk about the music video. How was that experience for you?
We shot it during a little lull in the pandemic, so we got everybody together. But I was dancing with Truth Jones, who, as I said, was a semifinalist in the IBC in Memphis, and she's an incredible stage performer. And I found myself grooving in tandem with her. And to me, this one was all about the performance, because the music really speaks for itself. So it's not about special effects; it's about getting the groove on.
And of course, Superstition is dropping, or actually has dropped this month. Where can people obtain this new single?
You can get it on all the traditional musical outlets: Spotify, Amazon, etc., iTunes. You can find it on YouTube. Just Google my name, Nick Andrea, and Superstition, and you'll find it. And I think you'll be amazed. It took over a year in development, 80 tracks, 9 different musicians played on it. So this is layered. It's a lush sonic explosion.
Indeed it is. Indeed. And I absolutely love your approach to it. And if we can, I'm going to go flashback to 2021. Actually, you also did a video for your single Half of a Man. Let's talk about the song, and then I'm going to show them the video. So tell me about how you came to Half of a Man.
This song is part of being honest and transparent and having something to say. And this is about, I talked about during the 30-year lull, and I was sort of depressed, and I wasn't always the greatest man that I could be to my wife. And when you decide to come out of that, sometimes forgiveness is not quite so automatic. It does take time. And that's what the song is about. It's about somebody who decided to fly straight, and it took a little while for their significant other to catch on. But eventually forgiveness does happen. And that's the point of the song.
All right, let's check it out.
Won't lie to your job for a very long time. Spent all the money on women and wine. Didn't work no job, stayed out all night long. They told him to leave, said he'd been doing you wrong. No shock to me, I did understand why she treated me like half of a man. No shock to me, I did understand why she treated me like half of a man. Then came a day I left that behind. Thought she'd forgive me, be clear my crime. Don't stay out late, bring home all my bed. Clean up the house, walk the dog every day. Now that I'm doing the best that I can, guess what? She still treats me like I'm half of a man. Now that I'm doing the best that I can, guess what? She still treats me like I'm half of a man. Church on Sunday, take out all the trash, open my wallet to give her all of my cash. I do everything me to ever demand. I walk in the path of the righteous man. Maybe someday soon she will understand. Until that day comes, I'm still half of a man, yeah. Maybe someday soon she will understand. Till that day comes, I'm still half of a man, yeah.
Now, that was a different approach to that video. Was that green screen?
That was green screen, and it really, Craig wanted to do a bunch of different angles, and I said, no, keep it this iconic straight on shot. This is about me singing to them, and so we had a little background here and then, but the point was to be made through the song and the expressions of the musician.
Now, this song, of course, as you said, does reflect the fact that you were, let's say, half of a man, and your wife had to really, be dealing with the challenges of your, some people would call it depression, the very fact that you weren't living in your full purpose. Is that how she led to buying that trumpet?
Yes, I think she was, because I talked fondly about my musical dreams when I was a young man, and light bulb came on, and there it is.
I love it. So not only is it a great musical story, it's a love story intertwined. Have you considered doing film?
Oh, absolutely. And I love scripting the music videos, and I don't have a face made for radio, as it's sometimes done. So absolutely. And I think what we're doing with The Verdict right now is turning into as much a filming process as a musical process. And there are a bunch of different ways to go about it, whether it's a reality show or a movie or just a length. We want to entertain people. That's the main point.
Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed reconnecting with you, Nick. I am so excited to see that, the high school jazz trumpeter has blossomed into this amazing musical artist. I'm grateful that you and TJ created Law and Chaos. I had a chance to talk to you and him, and then to be able to start 2022 off and reconnect has been a joy. I want you to know that. It's been a joy. Thank you so much. Loved being on. And for those who are interested in staying up with Nick, be sure to check out his website. And of course, you can go to his Facebook. That's Nick Andrea Music. Yes, you can Google him. He is Googleable. Go to YouTube, check out all of his amazing music, both with Law and Chaos, with Nick by himself. And what's the name of the new group that they need to be on the lookout for again? Nick Andrea and The Verdict. We're keeping a little law connection going there. Okay, spell that for us. Nick Andrea, NickAndrea, and The Verdict. THE space VERDICT. I love it. So The Verdict, I love that. Keeping the law in there. So one day, maybe we're going to have a Grammy and we'll see Nick Andrea and The Verdict up on stage. Who knows? We're going for that. Stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. Any last words before we go? Keep on keeping on, people. Listen to music. Try to go to live music events when safe to do so. Buy vinyl, including mine and others. Oh, that's right. Before we go, you are the vinyl man. Okay, very, very quickly before we go, let's talk about why that's been so important to you to put your music on vinyl. Because that's how I was introduced to music. I broke into my parents' record collection. Before I knew it, I was listening to Chuck Berry and the Rolling Stones, and I was listening to it on vinyl. And when I started collecting vinyl again, it just brought back that loosey-goosey feeling of holding something real in your hands. Oh, wow. And now, of course, you all can check out his music on vinyl as well, a collector's item. It's just so much. I love it. Thank you. Anytime you want to come back, Nick, I look forward to it. So thank you so much. Okay, everybody, I got to go because up next, it is Tina Tilton's The Blend. Inside the Taylor Tilton Hour.
Girlfriend know we're here? Yeah.
The system had one intention, to put us in prison. It's just that simple.